Caitlin Clark come out and say what needed to be said. She stood on business and said, we need to play in games. And y'all that are signed to these other leagues that are compromised, stop playing with the people who are not. Stop playing games. Let's get to it.
Here's the latest shakeup in the WNBA's high-stakes labor talks, and it's exposing a deep divide at the very top of the league. Kelsey Plum, the WNBA Players Association's first vice president, just drew a hard line in ongoing contract negotiations. But the real drama didn't start with her. It began hours earlier, when Caitlin Clark, the league's brightest star, spoke publicly at USA basketball camp in Durham, North Carolina and delivered a message that couldn't be more different. Clark urged compromise. She emphasized that players need to be on the court this season. Plum responded with frustration, making it clear negotiations are still nowhere near a deal. Two elite stars. Two completely opposite messages, and here's the twist almost no one is talking about. One of them has a direct financial stake in a rival league.
Plum's response is in this. It's just crazy, man. Like, you're signed to Unrivaled. You got equity in Unrivaled. Like, y'all are somewhat compromised on the situation to a degree, even if you're it's just weird, man. It's a little weird. Y'all on the board, but y'all got equity in the competitor leagues. It's all a little conflict of interest. Here it says, Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark said Friday that while WNBA players will fight for everything we deserve during their current round of collective bargaining agreement.
Clark wasn't speaking casually on January 10th at Duke University. This wasn't a throwaway comment in a routine interview. She made it clear that fans are starving for WNBA basketball and that both sides must be willing to meet in the middle to get a deal done. This was the league's crown jewel, the same player who helped draw more than 3.2 million viewers to WNBA broadcasts last season, publicly putting pressure on her own union. Clark signaled that negotiations have entered crunch time. In plain terms, the clock is ticking. That warning matters because the original deadline has already been pushed once. Talks were extended from December to January 19th, adding 6 extra weeks. But half that cushion is already gone. And based on Plum's comments, the two sides are still far apart. That's a serious red flag when you've already burned through half your safety net.
An extension of the current CBA through January 9th, 2026, as both sides continue to work toward a new deal. But questions persist on whether both sides will come to an agreement by then, or even whether a work stoppage could be on the horizon. Now, this is what Kelsey Plum had to say. Kelsey Plum, first vice president of the WNBPA, said at Camp Friday that the talks have been a little disheartening. Just the frustration.
The league's latest proposal is a massive leap forward on paper. Starting in 2026, the maximum salary would jump to a guaranteed $1 million. With projected revenue sharing, elite players could earn over $1.2 million annually. The salary cap would rise to $5 million and continue increasing each year, tied directly to league revenue. To put that in perspective, today's max salary sits just above $241,000. This proposal would more than quadruple top-end pay, but the union isn't satisfied. Players are calling for a full overhaul of the salary system, new revenue-sharing models, mandatory standards for facilities and staffing, and expanded benefits. Those demands are where negotiations keep breaking down. The league is willing to hand out 7-figure salaries, but to make it work, players would have to give up some current benefits like housing stipends and vehicle allowances. The union refuses. They want everything. No trade-offs. No compromises.
Players' priorities are transforming the league's salary structure and revenue sharing system, introducing standards for team facilities and staffing, and garnering more robust benefits. The league has said it wants to substantially increase players' salary and other cost commitments, while also incentivizing owners to continue to invest in operating the business and building sustained profitability. The most recently reported league proposal.
And this is exactly where Caitlin Clark's approach diverges from union leadership. Clark isn't on the negotiating committee. Her Fever teammates, Lexi Hull, Lexi Brown, and Aaliyah Boston, handle union representation, while Brianna Stewart serves as treasurer. Clark stays informed, but she isn't in the room making the final calls. That distance gives her freedom to speak plainly. She's not arguing against fighting for what players deserve. She's arguing that refusing any flexibility risks the worst possible outcome: no deal at all. And no deal means no season. No season means no games. No games means no spotlight, and without that spotlight, all the momentum built in 2024 disappears overnight.
That's what that line should have said. They are looking to capitalize off of Caitlin Clark, because if there was no Caitlin Clark in this league, they would have already agreed on a deal. Trust and believe, they wouldn't be doing all this hard negotiating and this and that if there was no Caitlin Clark that came in this league and brought the numbers, brought the viewership, brought everything. Simple as that. Simple as that. Here it says, what I'm proud of is that we play with a group of women that are united and we're standing on something, Plum said. Chicago Sky All-Star Angel Reese echoed that sentiment. I think everybody's really intentional about what we want. I think the players in WNBA.
Clark understands something many seem to be ignoring. The WNBA just had its biggest year ever, and a massive part of that surge was her. Fever attendance exploded. Viewership records shattered. Merchandise sales soared. Sponsors lined up in ways the league has never seen. This wasn't a slow burn. It was a moment, and moments like this don't last forever. If there's number 2025 season, casual fans who just discovered the WNBA will move on. The growth evaporates. And here's the uncomfortable truth few want to say out loud: most players may never get another opportunity like this. This is a rare window for life-changing money. Clark is warning her peers not to blow it, but Kelsey Plum isn't backing down. She insists the players are unified and standing firm. Angel Reese echoed that sentiment, emphasizing solidarity and shared goals. That's classic union language, what you hear when both sides are preparing for a full-scale standoff, not a compromise.
24 #1 pick in women's basketball sensation has called this the biggest moment the WNBA has seen, making it all the more important that we find a way to play this next season. A work stoppage could emerge if the owners opt to lock out the players or the players opt to strike. I think there are different things that we can find ways to say no. We certainly deserve that, and we're not going to compromise on that. And there are other things we can probably compromise on. You want to understand both sides and be respectful of both sides, but at the end of the day, come to a compromise. Caitlin Clark is the...
Now comes the elephant in the room no one wants to confront. Kelsey Plum is a co-founder of Unrivaled, the new 3-on-3 league launching in Miami. She owns equity, signed a multi-million-dollar deal, and sits on its board of directors. So when WNBA talks stall and the threat of a lost season grows, who benefits? Players suddenly need an alternative place to play, and Unrivaled is ready and waiting. That's a textbook conflict of interest. Plum represents WNBA players, yet personally benefits if negotiations collapse. She's not alone. Brianna Stewart, the union treasurer actively negotiating at the table, also co-founded Unrivaled and holds equity. Nafisa Collier is in the same position. The very leaders shaping union strategy all have financial stakes in a direct competitor to the WNBA. Caitlin Clark doesn't. She isn't tied to Unrivaled, Athletes Unlimited, or any alternative league. Her earning power depends entirely on the WNBA's success. If the 2025 season is cancelled, she loses a full year of prime earnings. There's no guaranteed fallback.
At this point in time. Get down in the comments and let me know what you think. This is Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe.
That's why her perspective is fundamentally different. As the January 19th deadline approaches, the stakes couldn't be higher. Realistically, talks need to wrap up even sooner to allow for free agency in February and training camps in April. If there's no deal by late January, the entire 2025 season could be in jeopardy. Right now, both sides admit they're still far apart, but Caitlin Clark is choosing a different path. She's going public. She's urging compromise. She's warning that a lockout or strike would be disastrous. And she's framing this as the most important moment in WNBA history. Clark is positioning herself as the strategic, long-term voice, focused on growth, timing, and momentum. Kelsey Plum is taking the opposite route, rallying players for a showdown, digging in, and signaling that principles matter more than urgency. 2 stars. 2 strategies, and the future of the league hanging in the balance.